Hi YouTube, Weisswolf here with Red and White Gaming. Today we've got a special guest for you all, John Rickna of Paradox Interactive, to answer some questions regarding competitive play in War of the Roses. Would you mind introducing yourself, John, and tell us a little bit about what you do for Paradox?
All right, hello everyone. My name is John, and also known as TotalyMoo on the forums and on the internet. I'm kind of in a loose role at Paradox right now. I work a lot with community development on Salem, our new MMO, and then I work with just general community management and everything competitive on War of the Roses. So I'm the go-to guy when you want something competitive done here now.
Cool. Well, thanks for being with us here today, and let's jump right into the questions, all right?
All right.
All right, let's talk for a minute about the controversy that's developed on the Paradox forums over the past couple months regarding weapon balance issues. Um, was the nerfing of the two-handed Scottish sword done in response to community concerns that the weapon was overpowered, or was it something you guys had already identified from earlier?
I mean, we've known about the Scottish sword being kind of a strong weapon for pub players in general. It was very popular during the beta too, so it's not really news to us, although we had like the spare combo and stuff like that being the main thing people played back then. So of course it's somewhat in response to the community kind of wanting that weapon nerfed, but on the other hand, we kind of saw that it didn't really fit the balance right now. So it's kind of one of those weapons that works for everyone but doesn't work for normal servers, so to say. Um, the fact that you can actually play it, swing around wildly, and any player that doesn't know how to block is going to be demolished, didn't work into the balance of the game at this stage. But we are looking to kind of correct that over nerf because right now it's down nerf to the bottom. No one wants to use it at all.
Interesting. Okay, so you guys aren't done with the Scottish sword then. There's still more development to be done on that weapon.
Absolutely. As we add new weapons to the game, of course, it's going to take a more definite role. As right now, it's the only two-handed sword, so it kind of was an all-round weapon, and it's going to be more, have a stronger purpose in the game as we add more two-handed swords.
I see. Can we expect to see other changes made to other weapons in the game?
Um, Somewhat, maybe small changes, as in, if you look at the latest patch notes for the beta patch, we have some small changes in the crossbow and just general tweaking to make it fit the playstyle better. But as weapons are, I'm pretty sure Fat Shark is pretty happy with how they are. They are balanced for a purpose, so um, every weapon, in my opinion, really has a role in the game. So don't expect to see weapons go up and down and it turning into a flavor of the month game. I'd say expect players to adjust to weapons in the future more, as we add stuff too, of course.
I see. There are a number of people, including myself, that believe the balance really isn't a problem at all, and the issue is players aren't really understanding basic game mechanics. What are your thoughts on that subject?
I actually fully agree. That's what I meant about the Scottish sword. The Scottish sword is quote unquote a very good noob weapon, or as it's a very good weapon to fight players that aren't really aware of how to do the one man fight or how to properly defend or properly fight. Because if you're fighting someone with a Scottish sword and you actually know how to defend, that weapon turns kind of useless. So every weapon has kind of a place in the game, and the ones that are called unbalanced and everyone uses right now just work very well against the lowly peasant new player, I'd say. But in the end, every weapon really does have a place in the game. So um, I agree with you there.
My next question here comes from a player named Maligned. He posted this on the forum, and his question is: a lot of skill-based online games tend to have separate and private forum areas for competitive players with a track record of high-level competitive play. This gives development teams more reliable sources of information on balancing from experienced players that understand and are fluent in the game mechanics. Have you considered adding this feature to the Paradox forums?
Well, who says we doesn't really have that feature? I mean, at least Fat Shark is in contact with a lot of competitive players that they take direct feedback from. Even if it doesn't really go through the Paradox forums at all times, we really do look at the people that are on the highest tiers of playing and talk to them directly. So there might be a change. I mean, if there's a really big interest from people, of course there might be a change to the forum. You can always talk to Bjorn B about that because he's always up to making the forum really what the users want it to be and what is needed. But we are still already in talks with competitive players and the top cream, so to say.
There you go, Maligned. You just aren't good enough yet, buddy.
You can always contact us, and we will, of course, listen to your opinion. So,
Great, very cool. Uh, Dave the Brave asks the next question here. When will we see the leaderboard, and what kind of statistics can we expect?
um, well, the leaderboard is kind of moving its way in. As you saw in the recent patch, we added the post-game statistics, which is kind of a bump in the right direction. So the leaderboard is going to be a web-based leaderboard tracking these statistics that you can see in the end of the game. So you can track basically everything. I want to say soon, but I'm gonna go with the soon TM because it's not super high priority, but it's moving its way back up there. So it's gonna be pretty soon.
Okay, okay. Zeoburn, another player, has a follow-up question to that. Are game statistics currently being tracked?
Yes, as you can see with the final the score in the end, we already put down a lot of statistics, and I'm pretty sure they're being put on some database somewhere.
Okay, great. All right, let's next question here, John. Do you foresee the release of a map editor so that environments can be created by users for specific types of play, like a dueling map, a jousting map? Maybe players would come up with little archery mini games.
I wish I could say yes on this question, but I'm pretty sure we are not going to release any kind of map editor at this moment. I'm pretty sure it's not even in the plans. Fat Shark is pretty content on keeping the game to themselves. That's why we're not releasing server files. We're keeping it to ourselves because we want to have as little exploits and as little problems with the code in the game itself as possible. So right now, unfortunately, no. Although I'd love to see that in the future because I feel the game really has potential for that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point about the about keeping a close hold to avoid gamers exploiting, because you can see in games like Arma 2 and probably even Mountain Blade to a lesser extent, the minute the game expands to the point where you can take the engine and make your own game, it becomes very easy for players to introduce all sorts of crazy hacks and stuff.
Correct. And this game is very, very different to many games in the point that we actually have a lot of, well, like the physics and the hitboxes and stuff like that are extremely developed, so to say. So we don't really want to just throw that out in the world. Say, hello, everyone, grab this, use it.
Right. John, a spectator client has been hinted at. When can we expect to see it?
If everything goes according to plan, together with pitched battle mode,
Excellent, excellent.
because it's actually a big part of pitched battle mode. So it's kind of necessary to release that mode to have the spectator client going. But yes, that is very hard priority.
Awesome, awesome. So that's on the horizon then.
Absolutely.
Uh, Going along with that, can you tell us a little bit more about pitch battle mode? Will it resemble in concept a Counter-Strike style round in which a player just has a single life?
In some sense, yes, of course. It will be a quote unquote single life round, which of course brings revives and executions to a whole different level of play because they will still be available. So it's going to be like Counter-Strike pitch battle with a tweak.
I see. Cool. A player named, probably not pronouncing this right, so forgive me, Snuffle. His name is Snuffle Juret, or Snuffle Jure, I'm not sure. He asks, are there plans for another DreamHack or DreamHack style event?
Not right now, no. They
Okay,
are
and
not in the planning.
I guess I'm going to follow that one up with my own question. to what extent are you guys planning sort of LAN events to promote the game?
Um, as of now, there's no concrete plan of doing anything LAN-wise. Of course, we want to help this game in the competitive scene as much as we can, but we don't really want to be the hand holder, so to say. So if, say, an organization like Red and White Gaming goes and says we want to represent this game or have a competition at an event, of course we will be there and kind of condone it and do our small part, but we don't want to be the running force when it comes to the competitive side of War of the Roses. So right now there's nothing in plan, but we kind of start off by just doing stuff like supporting the organizations.
Right, right, gotcha, cool. There are a number of players, myself included, that feel War of the Roses is suffering from a lack of organized clan play. And what I mean by that is we've seen even in our league, we just there aren't that many clans getting together and playing, or at least that's our impression at this point. And the clan section of the forums, for example, is not easy to use necessarily, and it doesn't really facilitate interaction among players or clans. I mean, because you can't post to another clan's little thread there without joining. Have you guys considered modifying the clan section, or have you guys discussed getting more clans involved in the game?
Well, I actually talked about this question as I read it from you when you sent it me a couple of days ago with Björn, and of course, if players can't really figure out how to use that part of the forum, which we personally, of course, find easy to use, but on the other hand, we designed it, so of course we find it easy to use. Then of course we might look at changing it. Um, it is in the core sense actually a very good layout because you can talk in each other's forums and stuff, but it's easy to misunderstand how to use it. As for we want clan communication and more clans in the game, of course we do. We want a lot of players to form clans and just work and play and do stuff with each other. And I think that's something that's going to grow up as the game progresses because the clans we have now, the few clans we have, at least to my impression, are from warband. So they already kind of know each other and they play internally. But I talked with IG the other day and they haven't really met any other clans as of yet. So now that you brought it up, of course we want to look at helping clans communicating and doing stuff with each other.
Great. Good stuff, John. Okay, well we've got a final question for you. What is your favorite class and weapon in War of the Roses?
Uh, that really does change day to day, but I talked with ID Leeson the other day, and he told me to just play one class and one weapon until I really, really got the hang of it. So right now I'm playing a light armored guy with the G axe and an arming sword, and just go Imperial style G axe and try to one and two shot everyone. And I'm really, really in love with that weapon. Although it breaks so easily, so I can't really block. I have to just sidestep all the time. But I'm very fond of the lighter classes and just running around and trying to outmaneuver my enemies.
That's funny that you mentioned the GX because a number of guys in my clan and myself included have started using it too because we were just sort of anticipating an upcoming change to the Warhammer, just kind of based on all the negative feedback on the forums, and the GX definitely is sort of similar to the Warhammer in its ability to deal massive damage and strike kind of quickly.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you watched the latest patch notes from the beta server, but the Warhammer actually got a minor quote-unquote nerf where it has a smaller area of where the maximum damage actually occurs. Because before you could do an underhand strike and don't really get the momentum, but still do insane damage, and that has been properly balanced now. So of course we're looking to make things work out better in the future. But the GX is incredibly good, and I personally think that when pitch battle mode becomes the competitive mode, that insta-kill weapons are going to be huge because, of course, people are not going to just surrender when they go down. So if you insta-kill people, then you can definitely have them out of the game without executing. So I think it's going to be a core weapon for competitive play.
Very, very good point. Yeah, and we'll that'll also bring or emphasize the importance of skilled ranged players that can also drop other opponents instantly.
Yeah, half moon arrows are going to be huge.
Awesome. Can't wait. All right, John, that's all we have for you right now. Thank you again for sitting down with us today. And do you have any parting shots or comments?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. Secondly, if anyone wants to play against either Fat Shark or Paradox, we play way too much World to be sane. So you can see us out in the servers all of the time. I personally hang a lot in dual servers if you want to take a stab and probably win against me because I'm not the best at dueling. And finally, shout out to Gulbit and Paradox and Fat Shark for making this awesome game. And once again, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and we look forward to more great content from Paradox and Fat Shark. That's the end of our interview, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and look for more videos in the coming days.